Hi, my name is Mark Hundley, and this is Live at 5. And I welcome you to this afternoon of talking a little bit about uh, tuning into abundance. Um, Many times when we think about abundance and we think about life, there's one of two, I guess, general views that we see. Sometimes people have a scarcity attitude where they feel like everybody is looking at and vying for the slice of a single pie, one pie. And that's the scarcity attitude, that we're all battling for the same pie. Um, when we think about abundance on the other hand, is that there's enough pie for everybody. In fact, there are lots of pies out in the world. And so the focus of today's session is to talk about how we tune in to abundance. You see, we're in kind of a strange time, and very often when pressures push us or uncertainty usurps our sense of security, we find ourselves squeezed into a sense of scarcity. We begin to believe that resources and options and opportunities are drying up. We have a tendency then to withdraw or hunker down, close our ranks, guard our resources. We have a tendency to gather and hoard all that stuff that we're afraid of losing. We become kind of misers in a sense. Or we could go the opposite direction. Sometimes scarcity pushes us in the other direction to a kind of an aggressive stance, and we can push back vocally and out of fear and anxiety, and push back against what we feel is as an imposition on our freedom. We can act impulsively. We can leap without looking. Have you ever done that before? That's not a lot of fun. So that's the scarcity end of it. How do we tune into abundance? Dr. Wayne Dyer said that abundance is not something we acquire, as so often we think. It's something we tune into. So it talks about, to me, a frequency of abundance. It talks about abundance being something that's pervasive in our world, and we have to find a way to tune into it. Where scarcity can sometimes be driven by fear, abundance is driven by hope and optimism. We have to start seeing our world and ourselves a little differently. We have to adjust the knob just a bit and fine tune our focus and our perspective. You see, we have a tendency in life to see what we look for. I can take 5 people to the top of a beautiful mountain and ask people to tell me, all those 5 people, what do you see? Well, some people would see a potential to fall down the mountain because they're at the edge. They're looking for the danger. Other people would look for the clouds on the far horizon that might portend a storm on the way. Others might just see the beauty. So we do have a tendency to see what we look for. So when we start thinking about abundance, we've got to fine tune what we look for so that we can shift our perspective just a little bit. And I've thought about maybe sharing with you 3 things that we could do to begin looking for abundance in our lives. The very first thing that I thought about is that we could create an awareness of our personal abundance. And right off the hand, you can say, "Hey, wait a minute, Mark. I don't have an abundance of money. I don't have an abundance of resources. My bank account is not in the millions. What are you talking about?" Well, I'm not talking about financial abundance. I'm talking about an abundance of kindness, of gratitude, an abundance of wisdom, an abundance of patience, an abundance of compassion and empathy. I'm talking about an abundance of ideas and creativity that we all possess, and all of us possess some abundance of some of those things, or a combination of those things. So I think the first thing to do is to start looking for internally, creating an awareness of what we are abundant in within our lives itself. The second thing that we can do is to practice gratitude through both word and action. If we're talking about practicing gratitude in word, why not send a text or an email, or pick up the phone and call someone and express your gratitude for who they are and what they mean in your lives? Better yet, get a thank you note or a letter and handwrite something, drop it in the mail. What about giving? Giving of yourself, giving of your resources. That's one of the best ways I know to practice gratitude. The third and final way is find ways to create win-win outcomes. Now that's a tough one, because when we have the abundance attitude or mindset and the scarcity mindset, very often those clash. And so what we have to do is remember, as an abundance attitude, we say, hey, there's enough for everybody. Brene Brown says she doesn't like to call abundance the opposite of scarcity. She likes to call the opposite of scarcity. She likes to call that enough. Well, perhaps abundance is enough on steroids. So there's always enough for everybody. We just have to find ways to creatively create a win-win for everybody involved, so that everybody walks away feeling as if they've been taken care of and understood and heard. Guys, this is a tough time. We're all in this together. Some of us are moving toward opening up. Some of us want to stay shut down. Some of us are in the middle. We're not really sure where we're going, but I do know this. We all have an abundance of things on the inside, and if we can start to focus on those and create those, we will create a better life for ourselves and those around us. Have an abundant day. Peace.